Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head to Helsingborg here in Skåne in southern Sweden, and we're going to do another beer from Brewski. This one's a collaboration of course with Evil Twin, who are a sort of Danish-American gypsy brewer. They started off in Denmark, then moved to America, and this one is the Little Big Hoppy. I think it tells you there. Little Big Hoppy comes in at 5.6% and it's an American Pale Ale. It was rated 96 overall on Rate Beer when I checked it out earlier, and 94 within the style. You've got two really good breweries involved in this one. Brewski, of course, are one of the better known Swedish craft breweries these days. I think they are starting to export their beers now. I've seen them in Scotland, but I know that both breweries produce some pretty awesome stuff, so I'm interested to see how this collaboration turns out. So I hope you guys enjoy the review. But anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries quickly, but if you want to get straight to the tasting, if you just fast forward, all the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews both from Brewski and from Evil Twin Brewing. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There are ones there for my Swedish beers, my American beers and my Danish beers as well. Those are the three countries that are relevant to this beer, of course. But as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. Always interesting to hear from you guys, and the support that you give the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Brewski first off then. So Brewski were founded back in 2014 in Helsingborg, which is in Skåne in the very south of Sweden. But the founders of the company are Marcus Hjalmarsson, Johan Britsen, Alfred Olsen and Robin Skoglund. And all of these guys were really inspired to get into craft beer because of the West Coast American craft beer scene. You know, lots of breweries over there, of course. But Marcus was actually originally associated with the High Nose brand of beer, which was brewed at the Brewery, a little bit to the north of Helsingborg, and some of those beers are actually still brewed up there, although all of the Brewski beers are now brewed at their own facility in Helsingborg, which has a capacity of around 100,000 litres of beer per month. But I think as of January 2017, they were actually doing some work on the brewery. I think maybe to expand it and to add a sort of restaurant and kitchen and things like that to the brewery. So some exciting times ahead. But in 2016 they actually started hosting their own beer festival, which is called Brewskival, and this one had over 40 different breweries and things like that as well. So it's a really good festival. Hopefully I can make it up to the 2017 one and check it out for myself. But as I say, Brewski are quite a well-known Swedish craft brewery these days. They do some really nice stuff. The IPAs, of course, with a little bit of sour character, are the ones that you need to try from these guys. The Pango Fever, the Mango Fever, and all of these sorts of things. If you get the chance to try some of those, I'd highly recommend them. I still need to review those for you on the channel actually. But anyway, as I say, check out Brewski's website and things in the description below if you want to learn more about them. But on to Evil Twin Brewing then. So as I mentioned to you, these guys started off as a Danish gypsy brewery. They were founded by Jeppe Jarnet Bjergso, who's the brother of Mikkel Bjergso, of course, big boss at Mikkeller, and they were founded back in 2010, and as was the case with a lot of breweries, they were kind of inspired by the lack of craft beer in Denmark at the time. But Jeppe began homebrewing in the same group that gave birth to Mikkeller, and he went on to found his own beer shop called Ølbutikken, which is still around in Copenhagen actually. But he actually started brewing a beer import business. He was importing a lot of these American beers into Denmark. He was one of the first to do so, but then he decided it would be fun to sell his own beers, and his shop also distributed the very early Mikkeller beers as well. So Jeppe actually agreed an import deal with 12% imports to send his beer over to America, and he later moved over there with his wife in 2012, basing the company in Brooklyn in New York. But the beer is now brewed at a variety of host institutions. There's a lot of them brewed up in Connecticut. I forget the name of the brewery that they brew it up there. They brew some in the Netherlands, of course, and also some in Scotland. I think Brewdog brew a couple of their beers for them, if I'm not mistaken. I think they do brew some at the Brewski in Lokrista Hefte in Ghent in Belgium as well. So they brew their beers all over the place. They do some really nice stuff. Probably my favourite beers I've had from Evil Twin Brewing actually have been the Yin and Yang, but they've got various other things that they do, and they are pretty damn awesome. So if you haven't tried some of the Evil Twin Brewing beers, then I guess you definitely want to have a look at some of those. So yeah, and also on that note, if you check out Craig at Kent's Beer Reviews, he did, I think it was Even More Jesus, which is one of the really big Evil Twin beers for his 500th review, so you should check out that review as well, because that's a pretty awesome beer actually, and Craig is a very nice guy, so make sure you check out that. But anyway, that's enough about the breweries just now. As I say, check out the websites in the description below if you want to learn more, but we'll get on it to the tasting of this beer itself. So like I mentioned to you, this guy is a 5.6% pale ale. It has a little blurb on the side, so it says, Brewski loves Evil Twin. Little we might be, but here at Brewski we like to think big, and that's why we like to partner up with well-endowed breweries, use mighty quantities of hops, and spend considerable amounts of tech time on real fruit. Much like small dogs bark loudly at others to make us look larger. So far this collab we summoned the infamous Evil Twin, moonwalked around the brew house and shoved aroma in every orifice we could think of for your increased pleasure and joy. So yeah, just let you have a little look at the artwork then before we open up. Just bring it back from the light a little bit. There you can see Little Big Hoppy. There's the girl with her face painted out for some reason. I'm not sure what that's a reference to, but yeah, it's Brewski. They do random artwork. And there you can see there's the two brewery symbols there. Brewski on top and Evil Twin Brewing there, and of course it has the standard Brewski bottle cap. So yeah, quite a nice little bottle this one, but we'll get it out and into the glass and see how we get on. Looking forward to this one. Yeah, nice wee smoky opening there, and we'll get it out. I tell you something, you can smell, for me I think there's citra hop in this right away, maybe mosaic as well. You can smell these nice light tropical fruity notes on this one. We'll leave a little bit in the bottle just so I can kind of sugar it around and catch the aroma. But as you can see, this beer is poured it actually just looks like pineapple juice or something. You know, it really does just look like a sort of big fruit juice sort of thing. It really is quite hazy. See, if I put my fingers behind it, you can see absolutely nothing through that beer. I think it's fair to say this one is definitely a sort of kind of pineapple juice colour, a really quite bright yellow colour, not even amber, just bright yellow this beer. There's a solid finger of a frothy white head on it. You can see little bits of sediment just floating around in the bottom of the glass there. There's a few big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head, but it looks very, very nice. So let's have a closer look at the aroma on this one then. Oh yeah, there's a lot of fruit in this one. You can smell when you sugar the beer up, there's a little bit of grapefruit just kind of underpinning the beer. There's a bit of citrusy character in there as well, but the aroma from this one mainly is these kind of tropical fruit bowl notes. You know, it's mangoes, kind of peaches as well. It has a little bit of a peachy sharpness to it. There's some apricot and kind of papaya notes in this as well. Maybe a little bit like watermelon or something as well. Well, maybe not watermelon, regular melons I should say. I always get those two confused a little bit, but you can definitely smell that. It's these big kind of juicy fruity notes that are in this one. I do think there's mosaic and citra in this one. It's definitely got it. The aroma on this one really reminds me of some of these hops. There's a little bit of a kind of orangey character I think as well, but that's quite minimal in comparison to the more, pardon me, tropical fruits in this one. But of course you've got a little bit of floral character in there as well. A little bit of grassiness too, not quite pine resins, definitely more floral and grassy. And underneath you can smell some sort of bready malt in there. It's not quite pale malt, it's a bit bigger than that. It's got a bit more bready character to it than pale malt does. And some biscuity character as well. But just take a little bit of time with this one and enjoy the fruity side of it, because you smell that as soon as you open it. And it's one thing I should say, like with the Brewski beers, the fruity character that you get out of these ones is really quite distinctive. I think they've got their own kind of hop blend that they like to use. They do change it for every beer, but I think they've got a few base hops that they like to use, because I always notice this with the Brewski beers. They love these kind of lighter tropical fruit notes, and it reminds me a lot of the kind of citra and mosaic, these kind of lighter notes, and maybe a little bit of the New Zealand hops as well. They like that, they seem to like that lighter tropical fruit note when it comes to their IPAs and stuff. Although that said, I don't think Brewski actually brew that many darker beers. I've never had a stout or a black IPA from these guys before, so maybe that's something they need to try. But yeah, really nice smelling beer this one. Just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma before you get stuck into this. It does smell really quite nice. So yeah, let's give this one a try then. So this one is the Little Big Hoppy, a 5.6% American Pale Ale from Brewski in Helsingborg here in Sweden, brewed in collaboration with Evil Twin from over in America. Skål! Yeah, that's pretty good. That really is quite nice. I have to admit, it's one thing I should say. I have to admit, when it comes to beers these days, I'm far more into the likes of double IPAs and some of the stronger ABV IPAs. It's not that often that I will drink a pale ale. Given the choice, you know, I always go for the IPAs. I'm sort of like, my kind of, if I ever go out and drink beer, I tend not to drink all that much outside of the reviews these days because I love just trying different things. But when it comes to actually choosing beer for myself, I don't drink like APAs that much. And it's mainly just because I like to drink a little bit less but get something that's just bigger and a bit more boozy in flavour. That's just how I go. But in terms of like pale ales and stuff, I could certainly drink a few of these. You know, this one, if this was on tap and I was wanting a couple of beers, this one would be right up there. Although, like I say, I tend not to drink APAs all that often these days. But this is good. This is definitely one of the better pale ales that I've had. You know, if I blind tasted this, the only thing that really gives it away, it's got the hoppiness that you expect of an IPA. It's got a little bit of a stronger hoppiness than you'd normally expect from the pale ale. But the only thing that gives it away is just the malt base is that little bit lighter, but it's really quite nicely done. Of course, the pale ale and the IPA, the double IPA, and then the barley wine as well, it's all to do with the malt to hops ratio that's in the brew. They are all, of course, interrelated. But this is a really good beer. You get the chance to try this, definitely give it a go. You know, probably one of the best pale ales I think of that I've had was the Zombie Dust from Three Floyds. That was a really nice beer. And this one, it actually does remind me of that. The Zombie Dust, of course, was a single mosaic hop beer, but this one to me, just because it obviously has quite a few different hops in it, this one to me just strikes me as being as having a little bit more to it than that. The mosaic one the Zombie Dust was done really, really well, but this one to me just has a little bit more complexity than that. But yeah, this is good. So the malt base on this one, as you'd expect from a pale ale, is fairly simple. You've got a little bit of bready character in the middle of your palate there, and maybe right in the very centre there's a little bit of a sort of biscuity kind of sweetness to the beer, but of course the focus really is on the hops. So in the back corners of the palate it is actually quite floral. There's maybe a tiny little bit of herbal character there, but as you come further forward you can just feel that floral character lingering on the side of your palate. Around the front curve of the tongue it's a bit lighter and a little bit more grassy, but of course the main part of the flavour is just behind that front curve of the palate there, where you get that little oily bubble, and this is where a lot of the fruity esters come out in this beer. But this is good. You know, there's a little bit of it kind of comes across very similar to the aroma. There's a little bit of just a tiny bit of grapefruit underpinning this one, but I think the flavour in this one is a little bit more sort of passion fruity. I do think from the taste of this, I think there's some Simcoe hop in here. The taste of this one really does remind me of some of the Simcoe beers that I've had. So it's got that passion fruit base to it, and then as the flavour starts to progress, I think you're getting a little bit of sort of mangoes coming out of this one. There's a little bit of mango in there, some sort of apricot I think as well. It's got a little bit of that apricot character and some papaya and stuff like that too. I'm not quite sure it's got the peachy kind of sharpness, to be honest with you. There maybe is a tiny little bit of peach, but I definitely think it's more sort of passion fruit, papaya, apricot. There may be just a little bit of peach, like I'm saying, and as it just progresses a little bit further on, there's maybe a little bit of a sort of, not quite gooseberry, but just something a little bit like that, maybe a sort of limey character or something, but that's very, very minimal. You just feel it right on the edge of your tongue at the front, but it's really nicely done, this beer. If you get the chance to try it, have a go. This is one of the better pale ales that you're going to come across. It really is quite well done. But the flavour is really nice. Yeah, I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink that again. Like I said, I don't drink the APAs all that often anymore. I do tend to lean more towards the heavier IPAs and the double IPAs, of course, but I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink a few of these. This is a really nicely done beer, and when it's Brewski and Evil Twin that are involved in this one, you know, you wouldn't expect any less from these guys. It really is good. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I'd say this is mid-bodied. To me, it actually comes across a little bit heavier in the mouthfeel than you would normally expect of an APA. It's got a sort of it's got moderate carbonation to it. The malt base is very smooth, like I was saying. There's a little bit of sweetness to the sort of bready and biscuity character in it. There's a big hoppy bitterness to this beer, but it's not going to blow your head in terms of IBUs. It's got just a nice little bit of bitterness there. There's a lot of juicy fruity character to it as well. The mouthfeel of this one, it's actually not that oily. It has a very kind of smooth, almost, you know, slightly kind of chalky mouthfeel to it, this one, which is quite interesting. The mouthfeel of this one reminds me a lot of some of these organic beers that I've had before, just the smoothness that you get out of them. So it is quite an interesting beer, this one, and definitely different from some of the other APAs that I've reviewed for you on the channel, but to me, it's certainly very good. In terms of the rating that it has on Rate Beer, the 96, and the 94 within the style, I can definitely agree with that. You know, it's a very solid APA, different from the ones I've had before, which is maybe why it's 94 rather than like 98 or something like that. But to me, this is a very good beer. If you get the chance to try this one, I do recommend you have a look at it, because it's very well done, and as I said, you wouldn't expect anything else from either of these two breweries. So yeah, the Little Big Hoppy from Brewski in Helsingborg in Sweden, Evil Twin Brewing, a Danish sort of American and gypsy brewery. Really nicely done. If you enjoy APAs, and if you like the New England style, IPAs that you get in America, this is maybe the sort of APA equivalent of those. So really nicely done. If you get the chance to try this beer, I highly recommend that you do. But yeah, thank you for watching my beer reviews. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out my social media. Have a go at this beer if you get the chance. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comments section below if you have tried it for yourself. It's a really nice APA, this one, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. Until the next time, it's Slange just now, and I'll catch you very soon. Cheers.